My House of Horrors Chapter 891-900 Yin Hong revealed a lot of information to Chen Ge, and it confirmed some of his speculations. These 13 forbidden zones should be the last secret of the School of the Afterlife. Several scenarios at the School of the Afterlife are similar to Western Zhujiang's private academy. This indirectly proves my earlier speculation. The reason there are no specters in the forbidden zones is because they have left with Zhang Ya. Chen Ge's brain was spinning. Earlier, Yin Hong said that a room at the deepest part of the male dormitory reeks of foul odor. That room should be where my employees used to stay. The room is locked with my father's body and a rotten heart. This description is quite interesting. Could it be that the foul odor around me is not complete? He has locked his heart with his father's body? Only a red specter would have a heart that belonged to them. Yin Hong's words attracted Chen Ge's attention. In Chen Ge's memory, even though Western Zhujiang's private academy was a 3-star scenario, the reason it was given that rating was because of Zhang Ya. Looks like I've underestimated this scenario. Chen Ge thought back to the fight with the ruffians at the warehouse. The ruffians gave off a horrible stench, and the other specters avoided them. Only foul odor was happy. No wonder he's like a fish in water at this school. When I was at Coffin Village in Liwan City, the other specters improved through food, but he was the only exception. Chen Ge hoped that foul odor would bring him more surprises. The male dormitory was a forbidden zone for other people, but for him, it was like visiting his employee's home. The School of the Afterlife is changing. If foul odor's heart is really locked deep inside the dormitory, then I will help him find this heart, but the premise is that he is willing to take back his own heart. The boy with the stench had locked his heart with his father's body. Chen Ge had no idea why he did that. But if the boy wanted to forget the past and just wanted to be a happy fatty, then Chen Ge would not force him to do so. With Yin Hong leading the way, Chen Ge ran toward the center of the school. The closer he got to the center, the more students he ran into. Most of the students followed the warning from the broadcast and stayed quietly in the classroom. The students who were running around were mostly troublemakers. That might not be 100% correct, but that was what Chen Ge believed. Whenever he saw a disobedient student, he would go and talk to them. Sometimes, he had to admit that Chen Ge was talented in persuasion and debate. After a while, many of the students were moved to tears. Most of them chose to join Chen Ge's group. A small portion of the students who had something important to do and could not go with Chen Ge also verbally supported Chen Ge and agreed with Chen Ge's idea before leaving in a hurry. From the west side of the school to the center, the number of people behind Chen Ge had multiplied, and he had successfully attracted the attention of the school's consciousness. The blood sun had broken through the fog and was pressing down on the ghost. Due to the closing distance, Chen Ge saw the real face of the blood sun for the first time. It was actually a huge blood-red eyeball. Its crimson pupil had countless blood vessels intertwining and rolling within it, and the eyes reflected the faces of despair one after another. Each human face should represent a despairing lingering spirit, but there are too many of them, right? Chen Ge felt like Zhujiang should not have such a large number of lingering spirits. This monster might have attracted other lingering spirits from other places, like the cursed hospital. It was at the border of 2 cities, but the black phone counted it as part of Zhujiang. A 4-star scenario has already started to affect its surroundings. How scary will a 5-star scenario be? Chen Ge looked out the window. The eye above the school was very powerful, but the human faces inside it kept wailing and screaming like they were afraid of something. The school's consciousness has been staring at the blood-red city. What kind of monster is hiding inside the city? What is it afraid of? The blood-red city was getting closer. It felt like a blood tide was trying to swallow the School of the Afterlife. This is weird. I feel like the city is alive. We're here. This is it. When Chen Ge was thinking, Yin Hong had already led them to the student dormitory. She grabbed Chen Ge's sleeve and whispered, "All the buildings in the school are connected to form a large enclosed complex. The left side is the classroom, and the right side is the dormitory. If you look closer, you should realize that the color of the walls is different. Since we're already here, let's go in and take a look." Other than Chang Wenyu and the painter, Chen Ge was not afraid of anyone. He had completed Chang Wenyu's mission and gathered a large group of people around him, but he had not gotten the school's approval yet. Let's go to the male dormitory first. We'll go to the room with the stench that you mentioned earlier. Your request is really weird. At first, I thought you were just pretending to be brave, acting like you weren't afraid of anything, but now I realize how wrong I was. You're just enjoying it. Yin Hong's expression was weird. She felt like a sick person had met a pervert. The world of adults is complicated. I won't be able to explain it to you in a few sentences. Lead the way. Chen Ge summoned foul odor. This large, fat boy with the stench of foul odor narrowed his eyes. He hugged his stomach and looked harmless. Ever since he appeared at Chen Ge's haunted house, he had been gentle. Chen Ge knew that describing a specter as gentle was not the right word, but that was the feeling that foul odor gave him. He was willing to work and laugh when he was bullied. No matter what, he was the first to do. Even though sometimes his good intentions turned into bad things, he was afraid that the visitors would complain, so he hid in the corner. When he saw the visitors, he only dared to hide away, afraid that the smell would drive them away. Who would have thought that such a caring employee might be a hidden red specter, and she had locked her heart with her father's dead body? Foul odor has no body. Can a specter like this become a red specter? Never mind. Let's not think about it. We'll talk about it when we get there. Chen Ge and Yin Hong turned into the corridor where the male dormitory was. Probably because they were in class, there were no students there. There was a light blood fog around them, like one of the windows had been broken and had not been fixed. They walked down the corridor and entered the stairwell. They went down 4 floors before stopping before a door that was nailed shut by wooden boards. The school has sealed this place. No one has entered before, and no one knows what's inside. If you open the door, you might release something scary. Even a specter like Yin Hong warned them, which meant that this place was very dangerous for the students. It's fine, trust me. Chen Ge glanced at foul odor, who was still spacing out, and signaled for everyone to come and remove the wooden boards. As the wooden boards were removed, foul odor, who stood next to Chen Ge, slowly changed his expression. His chubby head slowly turned, and his eyes that were squeezed by the fat stared at the corridor. The corridor that was sealed was different from the normal corridors at the school. There was no blood fog, and the walls, cement floor, and the walls with shoe prints looked just like they did in real life. All the students at the school know that this is a forbidden place, so they will not come here, so it is normal for this corridor to be left the way it is. Yin Hong saw the strange look in Chen Ge's eyes and whispered to explain. The world behind the door is blood red. How can it be the same as in real life? This has to be the school's intention. After removing the last wooden board, the blood fog spread. Chen Ge and the others prepared to enter, but only foul odor stayed where he was. Are you remembering something? Chen Ge wanted to reach out to pat foul odor on his shoulder, but his hand passed through foul odor's body. Technically speaking, this honest fatty was just a ball of smelly spirit. He was different from other specters. Foul odor did not answer. His round body slowly moved down the corridor. He walked very slowly like he was afraid. Why would there be fear? Is it because you don't want to see your real self? Or do you not want to face the memory in your heart? Chen Ge did not know how to console foul odor, so he did not rush him. If foul odor showed obvious resistance, he would lead them away immediately. There were no lights in the corridor, and all the windows were nailed shut. This place was isolated from the rest of the school. The school's consciousness did not seem to like people coming in like this was his private territory. I've only heard about it from the teachers, but it looks so normal. Yin Hong was curious. She walked at the front, but she stopped after a few steps. This room is the dormitory that I mentioned earlier. All the students who stayed in this room said that they woke up in the middle of the night and saw a person standing next to their bed. His feet were on the ground, and there was a long rope around his neck. His face was green as he stared at one of the beds. If you make eye contact with him, you will mysteriously disappear. Is the door locked? Chen Ge reached out and pressed the door. Hey, are you listening to me? Can't you give me some reaction? I'm talking about something terrifying. Yin Hong was dissatisfied with Chen Ge's attitude. I know you're brave, but the teachers strictly forbid students from going to these forbidden areas. All new students have to know where they can go and where they can't during their first lesson. The door isn't locked. Shu Yin, follow me closely. Chen Ge completely ignored Yin Hong. While she was talking to herself, he pushed the door open a sliver. You really haven't died before, let me tell you. There are many things in this world that are more painful than death, so don't think you're not afraid of death. Yin Hong had always appeared as Yin Bai's negative emotion. She had to face all the bad memories and cruel things, and that was why she had slowly turned into a monster. However, after what had happened earlier, she no longer hid anything before Chen Ge. Perhaps it was because she felt like Chen Ge was the same kind of person as her, and she felt close to him. Chen Ge also noticed the change in Yin Hong, but he did not think much of it. Yin Hong was Li Shuiyan's negative memory. From how he saw it, Yin Bai should be closer to him, unless the ghost fetus had inherited the good memory, and he was the one who had to bear all the pain alone. But that was impossible from his perspective, so he did not dwell on it. He attributed Yin Hong's change to his own charisma. After getting Shu Yin's permission, Chen Ge opened the bedroom door, and a faded smell of mildew drifted out. After getting used to the smell of blood behind the door, this smell of mildew gave him a sense of familiarity that he had not felt for a long time. This is too messy. The bedroom was littered with various trash and dirty clothes. Luggage and mattresses were piled up randomly like they had just been caught in a typhoon. Did you find anything? The headmaster had been following beside Chen Ge like he was worried that Chen Ge would do something out of line. How about we leave? This is the school's forbidden ground. We'd better not wander around. Wait a minute. Chen Ge stood in the middle of the bedroom and looked up at the ceiling. There were nails nailed to the top of the white painted room, and each nail had a rag tied to it. Strips of cloth of different colors hung down from the ceiling. Looking up, it was as if there was a white sea above, and the red strips of cloth were corals growing at the bottom of the sea. Reaching out to grab one of the cloth, Chen Ge tugged it lightly. These cloth won't be able to hold a person's weight. They can't be used to hang oneself. I think they're used to fix the mosquito net. Speaking of which, why would you think of hanging yourself so directly? The old headmaster stood at the door. This dormitory is not big, so it shouldn't be hiding any secrets. The school's consciousness probably protects this place because this place has a special meaning to it. Boss, look at this. Bai Cholan held the mirror with one hand and pointed at the edge of the bed with the other. All the upper bunk beds had a rope tied to them, and on the other end of the rope was a doll with black hair and a name written on it. The craftsmanship is similar to the doll that Zhang Ya gave me. Could it be that Zhang Ya helped the student who hanged himself a long time ago? Looking at the things in the bedroom, he could not find the reason. Chen Ge opened his backpack to take out the comic. He decided to ask the student in person. Normally, at the haunted house, the hanging man would hide inside the mannequin that Chen Ge had specially made for him. He was not that powerful, weaker than foul odor. The pages flipped, and a thin boy appeared in the middle of the room. There was a very obvious strangulation mark on his neck, and his head was dislocated from his shoulders. It looked weird. You remember this room, right? Chen Ge asked softly. The confusion in the student's eyes slowly disappeared. Like a startled cat, he suddenly rushed toward one of the beds and tossed the things on the bed aside. Finally, he found a black envelope underneath the bedsheet. There was a sentence written on it. Who's next? The envelope was bulging like it was stuffed with something. The student gripped the envelope tightly with both hands. Fear and panic surged in his heart. He was very afraid. Can I take a look at the letter? Chen Ge was curious about what had happened to the hanging man. Why was there a doll that seemed to have been made by Zhang Ya hanging next to all the beds in the dormitory? The student shook his head firmly. He put the black envelope away and returned to the comic. The envelope looks like a curse, but there is nothing to be afraid of. Since the employee was unwilling to talk, Chen Ge would not force him. He inspected the bedroom again and placed everything back where they were. Then, he led the group deeper into the male dormitory. As they went deeper, there was a faded stench in the air, like trash that had been piled up for a long time without anyone to deal with it. The deeper they went, the heavier the stench became. Shu Yin and Yin Hong walked at the front while Chen Ge and Foul Odor walked side by side in the middle of the group. The fat Foul Odor tried his best to hide the smell on his body. He seemed to be worried that Chen Ge would look down on him. The boy had always been like that in Chen Ge's eyes. He had a body that constantly reeked of bad odor, but his heart was unbelievably clean. If you don't feel well, we won't go any further, Chen Ge whispered. He kept communicating with Foul Odor. He rarely forced his employees to do things that they did not like. The fat head shook left and right, and the flesh on his face quivered. Foul odor did not reject. The deeper they went, the more anxious the expression on his face became. Don't force yourself. Compared to finding the truth, I wish for you to be a happy child. You haven't experienced happiness in your life. If you are tortured by the lingering spirit after death, that will be too painful. After walking for several minutes, they reached the end of the corridor. Many students from the school covered their noses and mouths. This place was too smelly. The stench was hard to describe. It was not something that would come from rotting trash. It did not seem to float in the air but crawled into one's body, making one feel disgusted and resistant. All the people could not take it anymore. Only foul odor did not feel uncomfortable. His body that was supposed to be transparent was slowly solidifying like the stench was part of his body. He had once abandoned the stench, and now the stench was gathering on his body. The stench around the boy with the stench was the heaviest. Many students avoided him, just like when he was still in school. No one wanted to be friends with him, and everyone stayed away from him. He was just a joke to make fun of, a joke to liven up the atmosphere. Are you okay? Chen Ge's hand gently rested on foul odor's shoulder. As his body slowly solidified, Chen Ge's arm could no longer penetrate through foul odor's body. This was also the first time he felt the body temperature of foul odor. It was bone-chilling, completely different from foul odor's honest appearance. No matter how far the others hid, Chen Ge chose to stand beside foul odor. There was no other reason for that. This was his employee. Actually, Chen Ge had many ghost employees under him, but he did not ignore their feelings just because the number of baleful specters had increased. Every single one of these ghost employees was very important to Chen Ge because he knew very well that no matter the reason, these ghosts had now treated the haunted house as their home. This was their only home. Don't be afraid. No matter what happens, I will face it with you. Now that you have many friends, everyone will stand by your side forever. You don't need to shoulder anything alone anymore. If anything happens, we will shoulder it together. Chen Ge wanted to touch foul odor's head, but he realized that foul odor was too tall for him to touch. Just as he was about to pull his hand back, the large and fat foul odor bent down with great difficulty. The beady eyes hidden in the fat blinked several times. You little b*****. Chen Ge just wanted to console foul odor. He patted foul odor's shoulder lightly and stood beside foul odor. He did not move one step away. It is not without reason that this place is classified as a restricted area. If the thing inside is released, we will all be in trouble, a student who joined later whispered. Many people were discussing it, and the old headmaster came over to ask Chen Ge to be careful. Everyone believed that the core of the team was Chen Ge, and they only needed to listen to Chen Ge's opinion on this matter. However, to everyone's surprise, Chen Ge led foul odor to stop at the door. He handed the choice to foul odor. Open the door or leave, it's your choice. Many students were speculating the relationship between foul odor and Chen Ge. Only Bai Cholan and Xu Yin were different, they were touched. Standing at the end of the corridor, the ugly and fat foul odor stood where he was like he had been petrified. He raised his palm to grab the doorknob, but he did not have the courage to turn it. Looking back, he saw himself standing in the corner of the dark corridor. This scene had appeared many years ago. There were many times when he wanted to walk out of this room, but as soon as he raised his head and saw the long corridor outside, he would think of those faces, and he would hesitate. This small room had once been the only place that belonged to him, the place that he felt was the safest until his most respected father died in this small room. The stench in the air thickened. Foul odor hesitated for a long time before he pushed the door open. The stinging stench rushed out from the room, and many people subconsciously moved away. At that moment, only foul odor, Chen Ge, and Xu Yin were standing behind the door. In the end, the room was filled with various kinds of trash. Most of it was rotten, and some of it was beyond recognition. Once the door was opened, the trash fell into the corridor. There was no place to stand in the room. Whoosh, foul odor stepped into the room. He stepped on the trash and stared at a closet in the corner of the room. Chen Ge knew what was inside the closet. He blocked the people behind him so that they would not disturb foul odor. Foul odor was very familiar with everything in the room. He stopped beside his bed and waved his arm to sweep away the trash on the bedsheet. He looked at the bedsheet that was hidden under the trash. The old bedsheet was full of black and red stains. His body trembled, and the thing that he had been avoiding appeared before his eyes again. The red stain on the bedsheet reflected in his eyes, and it added a hint of red to his pupils. A strange sound came from his throat. Foul odor seemed to have forgotten how to form a complete sentence because he had not spoken to anyone for too long. He became more and more agitated. In the end, he grabbed the bedsheet with both hands and tore it apart like a madman. The pieces of the bedsheet with black and red stains fell like black snow in the room. Foul odor stood beside his bed, and memories flashed before his eyes. The sound in his throat grew louder and louder. It sounded like a question, but it also sounded like a helpless cry. Looking at the helpless foul odor in the room, Chen Ge gently closed the door. Foul odor probably did not want too many people to see him like this. In the narrow and dirty room, only foul odor and Chen Ge were left. Standing quietly by the door, Chen Ge allowed foul odor to vent his emotions. He felt that he should accompany the child at a time like this. The stench in the room could drive a living person crazy. Foul odor lost control for a long time before he finally woke up. However, his small eyes had changed. His pupils were filled with black and red blood vessels. His chubby hands grabbed the closet, and foul odor slowly opened the door. But to Chen Ge's surprise, the stench in the room did not become stronger, and there were no adult bodies wrapped in plastic wrap falling out of the closet. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Foul odor stood before the armoire and stared blankly at it. Chen Ge was curious. He slowly approached the armoire, and when he saw what was inside, the expression on his face was one of shock. Curled up in the corner of the armoire was a short, fat, and ugly boy. The boy's body was wrapped in plastic wrap, and there was an obvious wound where his heart should be, and there was a shallow strangulation mark on his neck. This boy is foul odor from that time? The boy's fists were clenched, and he refused to let them go even at the moment of his death. One could see that his left hand was gripping a picture, and his right hand was gripping a piece of a shirt. The shirt was obviously something that an adult would wear. The boy's appearance meant that there was something wrong with the description of foul odor's diary inside Chen Ge's haunted house. The truth does not appear to be what I thought it would be. Why did the boy end up like this? Foul odor, who stood before the armoire silently, looked at the boy inside the armoire, and a bitter smile appeared on his round, fat face. He tore the plastic wrap off the boy's arm and held the picture in the boy's palm before his eyes. It was a picture of a father and son together. The people in the picture were smiling happily. Who would have thought something like this would happen later on? A low growl escaped from his throat. Foul odor's hands slowly tightened, and he tore the picture that he had refused to let go of even at the moment of his death into pieces. He was tearing apart a picture, but the boy inside the armoire had wounds that were left behind by domestic violence. Blood flowed under the plastic wrap. The man in the picture was crying, but the boy was clapping his hands, laughing and jumping around. When the picture was completely torn apart, the boy's body inside the armoire had turned completely red, and the layers of plastic wrap on his body had started to crack. Woo! Foul odor appeared to be calling someone's name. It sounded like a farewell or a call. He scattered the broken picture on the ground, and his eyes glowed red. He turned to look at Chen Ge and then lowered his head to say something. Chen Ge did not hear it clearly. Just as he was about to ask, foul odor had already stepped into the closet. The stench in the air gradually faded, and the blood fog drifted into the room. Streaks of blood spread out from the wardrobe. The room looked almost the same as it did in real life, but in just a few minutes, the walls were covered in blood vessels. This was how the world behind the door should look like. All the stench is concentrated in the closet. Foul odor's huge body squeezed into the narrow cupboard, bringing with it the stench that filled the room. When the last trace of the stench disappeared, a strange sound came from the wardrobe. Chen Ge looked into the wardrobe and saw a fatty in a blood-red coat looking back at him. Foul odor? Chen Ge narrowed his eyes and sized up the other party. What is your name? Chen Ge had no idea what had happened to foul odor, but the boy had probably let go of his past and found his heart again. Everything had to start over. Chen Ge also felt like he could not call the boy foul odor anymore. He should have his own name. The little fatty in the wardrobe didn't say anything. He was ugly, but he wasn't annoying. "Don't you remember me? I'm our haunted house's boss, Chen Ge." The boy still did not speak. He just stared at Chen Ge like he was trying to imprint Chen Ge's face in his mind. The communication was fruitless. Chen Ge reached out to pull the boy out from the closet, but the boy did not react at all. "Fine, you chose your own path, and I won't force you. I've been very happy knowing you. If you run into any trouble that you can't solve in the future, you can come to Western Zhujiang's haunted house to find me." Chen Ge now had the power to make a promise to a red specter. After he said that, he turned to walk out of the room, but when he did, there was another sound coming from the closet. Chen Ge turned back to look, and the fat boy in the red coat had jumped out from the closet. He was still wrapped in plastic wrap, and he followed closely behind Chen Ge like he was afraid to stay in this room alone. "No matter what choice you make, I will understand. If you are willing to come back, the door of haunted house will always be open, but I will have to recheck the rules. If you do not pass the test, you cannot interact with the visitors." At one moment, Chen Ge had actually given up, but to his surprise, foul odor, who had found his heart, was still willing to follow him. Walking out from the room at the end of the corridor, the people outside were still shocked by the disappearance of the stench until they saw the fat boy in the red coat behind Chen Ge. Another red specter? Everyone, including the old headmaster, was dumbfounded. "Do you know that boy?" Yin Hong nudged Bai Cholan lightly and put on a cute and innocent face. "He looks familiar." Bai Cholan was confused, but since this happened to his boss, he did not think it was surprising. Foul odor had turned into a fat boy in a red coat. His power had multiplied, but he refused to communicate with anyone. It was unclear whether he had lost the ability to speak or he was too afraid to speak. "Come on, we've finished exploring the male dormitory. Next, we'll go to the female dormitory." Chen Ge's eyes moved away from foul odor. He was actually thinking about something else. Western Zhujiang's private academy once had a door pusher, which meant that behind the door was the scenario of Western Zhujiang's private academy. The male dormitory that he was looking at should be the scenario of Western Zhujiang's private academy behind the door. The school's consciousness was expanding crazily, but it chose to keep a few of the more important scenarios. That should be the last wish of the door pusher before he died. There is a big problem with the management of Western Zhujiang's private academy. No wonder it became an abandoned school. Other than foul odor, the hanging man, and Zhang Ya, there was also a door pusher who was forced into despair. Many students were bullied here, and for them, the school itself is a hellish existence. Chen Ge looked at the corridor that was slowly dyed red, and a thought appeared in his mind. To gain the school's approval, I have to completely change the school because this is the nightmare of all the despairing children. Shaking his head, Chen Ge decided to take things one step at a time. The scenarios related to foul odor have been preserved, so the scenarios related to Zhang Ya might be preserved behind the door as well. When foul odor entered the scenario behind the door, his power increased greatly. If I enter the place that Zhang Ya used to be, will I be able to help Zhang Ya? Chen Ge knew that Zhang Ya was at a crucial moment, and he wanted to do his best to help her. The blood fog rushed into the male dormitory, and the forbidden zone that was isolated by the school's consciousness was heavily damaged. The forgotten memory was picked up by the owner. Blood vessels crawled all over the old walls, and the place became like the rest of the school. The other way is the female dormitory. It has also been sealed by the school's consciousness, and no one has been there. There was about 1 meter between Yin Hong and Chen Ge. "I advise you not to go there. The legend of the female dormitory and the headmaster's story are the two taboos that cannot be touched. Even the school's consciousness has selectively forgotten about them." "It's fine, I have confidence." Chen Ge's voice was frighteningly calm. "You're an outsider. How can you know this school better than us? You're lucky to be in the male dormitory, but some things cannot be controlled by luck. Opening the male dormitory has already caused some changes, and the school's consciousness is slowly being affected. If you open the forbidden zone in the female dormitory, you might anger the school, and you'll be targeted by the whole school," Yin Hong advised softly. She was the kind of person who did not mind if things got out of hand, but she did not dare relax before Chen Ge. This man did not need her guidance to rush toward the most dangerous and scary, bottomless abyss. If she did not stop him, she might be dragged into it. You think you understand the school's consciousness, but so many years have passed, and there has been no new door pusher. This means that you've all misunderstood the school's consciousness, Chen Ge said with certainty. We don't understand the school's consciousness? Yin Hong pouted. The school's consciousness is made up of the students here. We are part of the school's consciousness, and the school is us. How can we not understand ourselves? Sometimes, the person who understands you the most is not yourself. Chen Ge's eyes moved between Yin Hong and Yin Bai. Chen Ge, we've made such a big move, and it will attract the school's attention. If you continue like this, it will be hard for us to escape. The old principal was also very worried. He felt that it was better to keep a low profile, but Chen Ge clearly had a different opinion. The school's consciousness will not be able to take care of itself soon. Furthermore, everything we do is to help it. Soon, it will understand. Chen Ge said something that shocked everyone and walked away without turning back. Compared to the boys' dormitory, he wanted to go to the girls' dormitory more. The reason was simple, because there might be something that Zhang Ya had lost hidden there. At the corner of the corridor, before Chen Ge could enter the female dormitory, footsteps came from the other side of the corridor and upstairs. Many people were rushing over. The impact of opening the restricted area of the male dormitory was much greater than Chen Ge had expected. The blood mist spread, and one figure after another appeared in the mist. Xu Yin. Chen Ge took a step back and stood next to Xu Yin and the headless woman. So many people want to stop me? Is the female dormitory that important? The bigger the reaction from the school's consciousness, the more it meant that there was something wrong with the female dormitory. It might be hiding Zhang Ya's secret. This abnormal top red specter seemed to have a special connection to the 4-star scenario, the school of the afterlife. Stopping at the intersection of two corridors, Chen Ge lifted his head to look. On his left were the teachers who rushed over, on his right were the senior students in dark uniforms, and in front of them were the normal students who had just run down from the classrooms upstairs. Were you the one who took down the wooden boards of the male dormitory? One of the teachers demanded loudly. Yes. Chen Ge did not deny it. Do you know that is the school's restricted area? Students are forbidden from entering, and even the teachers are not allowed there. I do. Chen Ge's nonchalant attitude angered the teacher. You know what you are doing, you. I'm just going to retrieve something that my friend once lost. You say I know what I'm doing, but who said that anyone can enter the restricted area? Who said that place is a restricted area? From the start, Chen Ge did not think there was anything wrong with what he was doing. He planned to turn the school upside down. In comparison, the painter and Chang Wenyu were just child's play, but no one had seen through Chen Ge's plan. Even if they did, they would not believe it. Are you questioning the school's consciousness? The second person who spoke was someone that Chen Ge had met before. It was Mr. Lei, whom he had met once. If it is wrong, why can't I question it? The school's consciousness is the consciousness of all the students here, but sometimes what the majority insists on is not necessarily correct. You don't dare resist and blindly follow, so let me stand up for you. Chen Ge was like a traveler holding a torch in the dark. The path that he walked was the path of those who came after him. Do you know what you're saying? Mr. Lei and the other teachers slowly approached Chen Ge, and the atmosphere in the corridor became heavy. I know what I'm saying, and I know what I'm doing. I just want to leave a path for all of you to change before I die. Chen Ge turned to the students who had just arrived. Are you really happy? In this school made up of despairing children, you do not feel any warmth from the increase of your own kind? If anything, it is you who are falling into the abyss. I see that some of you have turned from victims to bullies. You have started to treat other people's pain as your own pleasure. You are slowly turning into the people that you once hated the most. The scariest thing is, if you dare stand up to say no, you are going against the school's consciousness. The person who dares to say no will have his soul crushed. That's too serious. Mr. Lei frowned. He felt like Chen Ge was different from the other students at the school. He was difficult to deal with. As a teacher here, you still haven't realized it. That shows how serious things are. With the protection of two red specters, Chen Ge spoke with confidence. He ignored Mr. Lei and turned to the students. Whether you remember or not, all of you have a dark past because only those who have lost all hope will enter this world behind the door. I don't know the purpose of the door's existence, but the door pusher will push the door open, and the most likely reason is because the door hides a way to save him. Chen Ge's voice was not loud, but it traveled clearly into everyone's ears. This school should not have ended up like this. It is a home that has taken you in, a place that has helped you walk out from despair, but look at yourself. Does this place look like a safe harbor that you can rest in? The students did not expect Chen Ge to say something like that. Many of them had lost their memory, and they were stuck at the school. You can slowly think about what I've said. I know it is hard to change everyone's consciousness, but I will not give up. Chen Ge did not seem to know what fear was. From the beginning, his goal was not to gain the school's approval but to change the school's consciousness. Chen Ge's eyes scanned every student's face. He raised his student ID above his head. I am also a member of this school. My power alone is limited, and I cannot change all of you, but I will try my best. As long as one more person agrees with me, that will be enough. What he said was something that the teachers at the school had not taught them. At this school, the children were slowly becoming numb, unable to see what they really needed. The school's consciousness was made up of each of them, but at the same time, they were just a small part of the school's consciousness. They could not change it, and they were powerless to struggle, so they could only become like them and survive under the school's consciousness. Chen Ge had said a lot, but it was impossible to gain everyone's approval with just a few sentences. However, it was not completely useless. Some of the students were deep in thought, and some of the students' expressions froze like they were reminded of something painful. People often tell me to be content with the status quo, to hide in the shell that is woven so that I can enjoy warmth. No one cares what is outside the shell because no matter what it is, with the protection of the shell, no one can harm the person hiding inside the shell, but is that really the case? Chen Ge pointed at the blood fog that was drifting down the corridor. When you were hiding inside the shell, the poison from the outside had already seeped into the shell and crawled into your body. When you realized it, it was already too late. You could no longer be saved, and hope became an extravagant hope. You could only watch as your body was consumed bit by bit, and the shell that you refused to leave would become your grave. Taking a step forward, Chen Ge walked toward the female dormitory. The long line behind him was filled with his supporters. Even the teachers, led by Mr. Lei, did not dare underestimate him. If they fought head-on, their chance of winning was small. After all, the real owners of this school were these despairing children. There are many secrets buried at this school, but I do not have time to explore them. Before the battle between Chang Wenyu and the painter ends, I need to gather more power. Chen Ge did not care about the Forbidden Zone. He only knew that place hid Zhang Ya's past. Perhaps when the door at Western Zhujiang's private school was pushed open, Zhang Ya had already existed, and that female dormitory was where she had stayed. Turning souls into candy, turning lingering spirits into dolls, and sealing specters into chairs. This description is indeed similar to Zhang Ya, but I believe she has her reasons. Chen Ge led Xu Yin and the headless woman to stop before the students. I don't expect you to support me, but if you think what I say makes sense, if you are unhappy at this school and have been bullied before, then please do not stop me. This was the first time they had heard what Chen Ge had said. Then again, in the blood-red school of the afterlife behind the door, there were still people who stubbornly clung onto hope, trying to make the soul that was haunted by the lingering spirit feel happiness, seeking salvation. That was impossible for them. The students in dark uniforms had already given up on that thought. The longer they stayed at the school of the afterlife, the more they understood that there was no hope at this school. It was a nightmare filled with despair that they could never escape. Someone in the crowd took a step to the side, and then more and more people opened up a path. It was unclear whether they were afraid of the red specter behind Chen Ge or they believed what he said, or perhaps it was a combination of both. When the students in dark uniforms opened up a path, a rumbling came from outside the school of the afterlife like thunder coming from the blood fog. The blood fog gathered toward Chen Ge and stuck to his body like it wanted to crawl into him, but it realized that Chen Ge was not a specter and could not enter his body. The school's consciousness is changing again. Is it because I've gained more students' approval? Chen Ge knew that the school's consciousness was made up of the students' consciousness. Changing the students' consciousness was changing the school's consciousness. The students did not stop him, and that was out of Mr. Lei's expectation. Seeing that Chen Ge was about to leave, he yelled, "The female dormitory is a forbidden zone. You say that you're doing this for the sake of the students, but opening the forbidden zone is your way to save them. Opening the forbidden zone will give you salvation. Quote. Chen Ge ignored Mr. Lei. Seeing Chen Ge's attitude, Mr. Lei became angrier. The scariest monster and the worst curse are hiding inside the forbidden zone. If you open the forbidden zone, not only will you get yourself killed, you'll drag everyone down with you. They trust you so much, but you're leading them to their deaths? The teachers were the enforcers of the school's rules. They would stop Chen Ge, and that was within Chen Ge's expectation. Then, do you dare make a bet with me? If I can walk out of the forbidden zone safely, don't come and stop me in the future, and don't say things like I'll harm others. Chen Ge stopped and turned to look at Mr. Lei. What if you lose? Mr. Lei was hot-tempered, but he was much more restrained when he was facing Chen Ge. If I lose, it means I'll die inside the forbidden zone. It doesn't matter whether I make the bet or not. Chen Ge had a point. Before Mr. Lei could answer, he had already walked away. Walking through the corridor that was blocked by the higher-year students, Chen Ge entered the female dormitory. He walked to the 4th floor, and the path before him was blocked by a pile of trash. There was a wooden board next to it that said, "No entry." Looking through the gap, there was a light red chair in the middle of the dark corridor. The chair was placed in the middle of the corridor like an invisible person was sitting on it. Come, let's go take a look. The scene before him was similar to what Chen Ge had seen when he first went to Western Zhujiang's private academy. Looks like I've come to the right place. Everyone had their own secrets, and Zhang Ya was no exception. She was shrouded in many mysteries, and the more he interacted with her, the more curious Chen Ge became. Breathtakingly beautiful, ridiculously powerful, and has a mysterious past, but such a girl just had to find me. Chen Ge had Xu Yin and Bai Cholan clear away the trash, and the group entered the 4th floor of the female dormitory. After a few steps, someone tapped Chen Ge's shoulder lightly. He turned back and realized it was Xu Yin looking at him. What's wrong? After finding his heart, the expression on Xu Yin's face gradually increased. He picked up his pace to walk in front of Chen Ge. He did not say a word, but Chen Ge could understand what Xu Yin meant. This place made Xu Yin feel danger, so he took the initiative to walk in front. The thick blood fog flowed into the corridor along the path that Chen Ge had opened. The blood-red chair flickered in and out of sight, and one could hear the screams and cries for help. How many people have died in this corridor? How come it feels so scary walking through it? The old headmaster whispered. Once he opened his mouth, it felt like cold air crawled into his throat. I don't know. Chen Ge shook his head. He was getting closer to Zhang Ya's secret. How did an introverted and innocent girl become a top red specter? I should be able to find the answer to her experience here. The screams and wails grew louder. Blood dripped, and small blood vessels appeared on the wall. This corridor was like the esophagus of a beast, and it was very suffocating. Chen Ge, I have a bad feeling about this. The old headmaster protected Yin Bai and Yin Hong. He wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Yin Hong. This place makes me uncomfortable. There's a prickling sensation in my heart. You'd better stop moving forward. A red specter's heart was different from a living person's heart. Their heart was their deepest obsession. A prickling sensation in their heart meant that their obsession had been shaken, and it meant that they were in a very dangerous situation. Boss, I also have a numbing feeling in my scalp. The broken hand in Bai Cholan's pocket was shaking. The last time he felt like this was when he ran into the shadow in Liwan City. Don't panic. Of all the people, only Chen Ge maintained his composure. His eyes looked at the chair at the end of the corridor. With every blink, the chair seemed to get closer to him. This scene was very familiar, just like when he first went to Western Zhujiang's private academy. Be careful of that chair. Yin Hong warned again. The chair was not that scary, but it seemed to represent something that could trigger the anxiety in one's heart. The cry for help seems to come from the chair. Could the rumors at the school be real? The higher-year students and teachers guarded the entrance to the female dormitory, and they saw this as well. The blood fog floated, and the chair was slowly approaching. No one had entered the forbidden zone before, and at that moment, their hearts were in their throats. The scariest legend at the school of the afterlife was before them. No one knew what would happen next, and everyone held their breath. Save me, save me. A girl's voice became clearer and clearer. As the chair approached, everyone could vaguely see a female student sitting on the chair, her eyes filled with malice. She seems to be looking for a scapegoat. Even a red specter could not make the girl on the chair retreat. The expression on her face kept twisting as she charged at the group. What's that? I can see it, but I can't sense it. It doesn't seem like a malicious spirit, nor does it seem like a remnant will. How strange. Chen Ge was not the only one who had this strange feeling. Everyone, including the red specters around him, had noticed this. The girl on the chair seemed to be one with the corridor. As the girl approached, it felt like the whole corridor was moving, like a giant mouth, ready to swallow everyone in one gulp. Be careful. The thick smell of blood was mixed with the cries for help, and everyone had a bad feeling about this. Director Lei, are we just going to stand outside and watch? What if something happened to them? Many students have followed him in. A female teacher outside the female dormitory said. Then go in and call them out. I won't stop you. Mr. Lei glared at the female teacher. When I first entered this school, the forbidden zone already existed. This place hides the most dangerous secret of the school. Do you know what a secret is? The female teacher's expression was not good, and she shook her head lightly. A secret is that once you know it, you have to pay a corresponding price like death or becoming a part of the secret. Mr. Lei was a smart person, or else he would not have been so successful at the school of the afterlife. Later, call more people over. Bring the human bricks and prepare to seal this place. Director, the school is being attacked by something from the outside. There are gaps everywhere. If we call more people over, there might be a big problem. There's no time to worry about that. Just do as I say. Do we need to evacuate the students here? No, I want them to witness with their own eyes the person called Chen Ge die inside the forbidden zone. That way, no one will suspect the school's consciousness, and no one will believe what he said earlier. Mr. Lei retreated into the crowd. There are enough disobedient children at this school. It's time to wake them up. But is that really a good idea? The female teacher still wanted to persuade him. It's too late to say anything now. When they saw the chair, the ending was already decided. Be it specters or red specters, once they are targeted by the monsters inside the chair, unless they escape this school, they will die. Mr. Lei obviously knew something, but he did not say it out loud. However, there was a trace of pain in his eyes, like his friends had disappeared from this place. This female dormitory is a man-eating monster. None of the people who entered it came back out. Through the crowd, Mr. Lei looked down the corridor. The blood-red chair was flying toward Chen Ge's group. Resistance will only lead to more changes. The rooms on both sides of the corridor are filled with monsters. As soon as he makes a move, these people will be devoured without a trace left. Mr. Lei's wise eyes seemed to have seen the end. He yelled at the students around him, retreat. This place will soon. Before he finished, Mr. Lei suddenly realized that the female teacher beside him had a strange expression on her face. He turned to look and saw that the chair had finally appeared before Chen Ge, but before it stopped, the girl on the chair suddenly screamed and ran down the corridor at a speed faster than when she came. This is impossible. Mr. Lei's hand froze in midair. He walked to the entrance of the female dormitory and pushed aside the trash to look inside. The scream of the girl on the chair had alerted all the monsters in the corridor, but different from what Mr. Lei expected. The scene of Chen Ge's group being torn apart did not appear. Instead, the half-open doors were all slammed shut, and he even heard the sound of the doors being locked. What did the girl on the chair see? Mr. Lei could not understand it. The students around Chen Ge and the old headmaster could not figure it out either. In fact, even Chen Ge himself took several seconds to realize what was going on. The girl on the chair probably sensed Zhang Ya's presence. That's the only explanation. Chen Ge turned to look at his shadow. Just the lingering presence on me shouldn't be enough to scare her away. Could it be that Zhang Ya is about to wake up? Chen Ge believed that there was something important to Zhang Ya at the school of the afterlife. Foul odor was a good example. He had found his heart in the male dormitory, and he had changed a lot. If Chen Ge could find what Zhang Ya had lost, perhaps Zhang Ya would wake up directly. When that happened, he would have the courage to do the things that he wanted to do. Chen Ge, why did the girl just leave like that? The old headmaster was confused. The atmosphere in the corridor was strange. Even though it was still scary, the anxiety had lessened. Because she's afraid, Chen Ge said casually. His expression was calm, like everything was under his control. Seeing that, The students around him felt like they had followed the right person. Let me lead the way. Yin Hong was more and more curious about Chen Ge. She had been close to Chen Ge earlier, and she had seen clearly that the monster on the chair had retreated madly after seeing Chen Ge. In other words, the girl was not afraid of Xu Yin, who was protecting Chen Ge, but Chen Ge himself. Just stand next to me. Based on the monster's reaction, they don't seem to be afraid of a red specter. Chen Ge chose to walk ahead. Yin Hong analyzed Chen Ge's words in her mind. They aren't afraid of a red specter, so this man has me stand next to him. Doesn't this mean that he has power that surpasses a red specter? Yin Hong looked at Chen Ge, who had maintained a calm demeanor, and had a beautiful misunderstanding. In my eyes, he is just a normal person. Am I wrong? Is he not weak, but I just can't see through him? Chen Ge had been to the female dormitory at Western Zhujiang Private Academy, and he knew where Zhang Ya's dormitory was, so he did not need Yin Hong to lead the way. The chair in the corridor had disappeared, hidden somewhere. Chen Ge ignored it and walked to the deepest part of the fourth floor. Is your secret behind the door? Standing at the door, Chen Ge mumbled to himself for a long time before pushing the door open. Pa! Cracks appeared on the wooden door the moment it was pushed open. When Chen Ge completely pushed the door open, the old wooden door directly shattered. It seemed to have been under a lot of pressure for a long time. Chen Ge's gentle push was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Wood splinters and blood flew in the air as a boundless malice gushed out from the dormitory. This was the first time that Chen Ge had seen the evil in a person's heart so clearly. The negative emotions materialized into something tangible. In the world behind the red door, the malice coalesced into black tentacles, and it instantly corroded the walls around the door into a deep black. Stand behind me. When the malice surged out, Chen Ge bore the brunt of it, but the black malice avoided him. It seemed that even pure malice did not dare to target Chen Ge. What did you release? The black malice spread in the corridor. When Mr. Lei saw this, he immediately told the students to retreat. Don't touch those things. Get out. Call everyone over. Quick, seal this place. The fourth floor of the female dormitory was in chaos, but Chen Ge, who stood at the door, was not affected at all. This malice is what Zhang Ya experienced before. Chen Ge seemed to have opened Pandora's box. Noises kept coming from outside the school, and the school's consciousness seemed to have gone mad. You seem to have gotten into big trouble. Yin Hong was scared by the flood of malice. She, who was not afraid of anything, only realized how obedient she had been after meeting Chen Ge. It's fine. How is this fine? Didn't you hear the noise outside? The school's consciousness. Quiet. I said it's fine, so everything is under control. Chen Ge put down the backpack in his hands and removed all the items on him. What are you doing? I want to go in to take a look. The malice has purposely avoided me, but I'm afraid they might harm the employees in my backpack. Chen Ge knew that everything in the dormitory was afraid of Zhang Ya, who was in his shadow. He did not know whether Zhang Ya could protect the people in his backpack or not. For the sake of safety, it was better for him to go in alone. Xu Yin, don't stay too far away from me. If there's a problem, pull me away immediately. After saying that, Chen Ge looked at the female dormitory before him. The malice had mostly dissipated, and he could see the inside of the dormitory clearly with yin-yang vision. Broken chairs were piled up in the room, and each chair had a name and a human face carved on it. Before Chen Ge appeared, they had been crying for help, but after Chen Ge entered, all the voices disappeared. The faces on the chairs all looked behind Chen Ge, and their expressions were filled with fear. What have you done to them? The dormitory was not big. Other than the chairs, there were pairs of women's shoes. There were all kinds of shoes, but the red ballet shoes were nowhere to be seen. She lost one of her shoes, so she's been looking for it? Chen Ge realized that if he combined the scenario that he had seen with the ghost stories that he had heard, then Zhang Ya was the scariest specter that he had encountered so far. His body was shaking. Chen Ge knew that Zhang Ya was scary, but in reality, Zhang Ya was much scarier than he had imagined. The person that never left his side, with this kind of past, if this was anyone else, they would have panicked. But Chen Ge only took a deep breath and said as if it was a conscious thought, in the future, I'll be the one to face those who are filled with evil intentions. Chen Ge did not move the wooden chair away. He called Zhang Ya's name patiently. He wanted to use this familiar scenario to wake her up, but there was no response. Looks like I'll have to go deeper. The thick malice could not get close to Chen Ge, but the students who were further away from him had black spots appearing on their bodies. Their minds were being affected. You guys should leave for now. Only the red specters and half-red specters will stay. When Chen Ge first obtained the black phone, he probably did not expect that he would one day say something like that. Moving over the chairs alone, Chen Ge saw that all the girls' beds were filled with dolls. These dolls were sewn from black hair, and some of their clothes were stained with blood. It appeared like they were half-red specters before they became dolls. His eyes glanced over the dolls that were sewn from hair, and Chen Ge looked at the bed at the innermost part of the dormitory. This was the only clean bed. There was not even a wrinkle on the bedsheet, and the quilt was neatly folded. Next to the pillow was a small bag of delicately wrapped candies. Each candy was a frightened soul. The different wrappers seemed to be used to differentiate the different flavors. She likes to make dolls and likes sweets. This girl's personality is quite cute. Chen Ge walked to the innermost part of the dormitory. He held the bag of candies in his hand and was about to turn when he saw a blood-red gift box on top of the quilt. The box was wrinkled, and it did not match the clean bed. Chen Ge had seen many gift boxes, but this was the first time he had seen one that looked like it had been drenched in blood. Did Zhang Ya plan to give this to someone else? Or was it given to Zhang Ya by some idiot? A dirty gift box was placed on the clean bedsheet. Anyone could tell that the owner of the box cared a lot about this gift. Standing in the scariest forbidden zone in the school, surrounded by monsters that were wailing in despair, Chen Ge did not feel fear. If anything, he felt a strange emotion. Before this, when Zhang Ya gave me a bloody love letter, a candy made from a soul, and a doll made from hair, I found it hard to accept, but today, when I see this red gift box on Zhang Ya's bed, I can't help myself. Surrounded by malice, Chen Ge stood alone at the deepest part of the forbidden zone. The people outside were nervous, and they kept their eyes on Chen Ge. If there was any movement, they would be ready to save him. They would not have guessed that these things were on Chen Ge's mind. From their perspective, Chen Ge's calm face suddenly turned serious, and his brows furrowed like something unexpected had happened. Should I open it? It's not a good idea to open someone else's gift. But Zhang Ya is not a stranger to me. She hasn't woken up yet, so it should be fine if I take a look at her. Chen Ge was conflicted. When his hands touched the box, the knot on the top of the box slid off on its own. I haven't done anything yet. Chen Ge turned to look at the shadow and then slowly opened the box. There was nothing strange in the room. The sound of a beating heart came from inside the box. Chen Ge leaned forward to look, and there was a blood-red ballet dress inside the box. This is a gift? There was a greeting card on top of the dress. Chen Ge picked up the card, and there was only one simple sentence written on it. Merry Christmas, baby girl. Your mother and I miss you so much. We prepared a new dress for you. The present was probably a gift from Zhang Ya's parents. In this room filled with malice and despair, this small box was the most precious thing to Zhang Ya. Looking at the dress in the box, Chen Ge seemed to see Zhang Ya's beating heart. Under that cold shell, there was a trace of warmth. This is Zhang Ya's most precious thing, but why do I feel sad when I look at it? Chen Ge gently put down the greeting card. His fingers slid across the ballet dress. The dress was stained with blood, and the blood stains were irregular. Some were deep, while others were shallow. The corners of the gift box also had signs of being crushed, so it looked wrinkled. The gift box was placed on a clean bed by Zhang Ya, so she couldn't have made these marks. In real life, when Zhang Ya saw the gift box for the first time, it was already like this. It was dyed red with blood and filled with signs of being crushed and crushed. Chen Ge had no idea what had happened to Zhang Ya's parents, but the fact that this gift box could become the deepest secret in Zhang Ya's heart explained many things. Other than the ballet dress and the greeting card, there appeared to be something else inside the box. It was pressed under the dress, but Chen Ge did not go through it. He closed the box and turned back to look at his shadow. I'm sorry, I'm not a good talker. I don't know what to say, but I can't promise you anything. I can only tell you that as long as I'm here, you won't be lonely. I'll be by your side in the future. Hugging the gift box carefully, Chen Ge wanted to hand it to Zhang Ya personally, but he realized that the bottom of the box was stuck to the bedsheet. Upon closer inspection, the bottom of the box was filled with a woman's long hair. The hair appeared to have a life of its own as it fixed the box to the bed. Other than Chen Ge, anything that got close to it would be pierced through by the hair. I was too careless. I didn't see it at first. Thankfully, she didn't mean me any harm. Chen Ge did not force the issue. He placed the box back where it was and planned to wait for Zhang Ya to wake up. Strangely enough, when he placed the box back on the bed, there was a sound coming from the closet next to him like someone was purposely trying to attract his attention. There's something inside the closet. This was the most forbidden place of all forbidden places. Chen Ge did not dare be careless. He slowly approached the closet door and slowly pulled it open. As the door opened, a doll fell out from inside the closet. The doll was very ugly. It could not be said to be made from cloth. It looked more like it was patched from a living person's hair. What is it? The doll's eyes glowed. It appeared like it could not control its body, and it could only move one finger. What are you trying to tell me? Chen Ge had a feeling that the doll was trying to express something to him. He did not approach the doll but dragged it by its legs to the door. After meeting up with Xu Yin, he squatted down beside the doll. After leaving Zhang Ya's dormitory, the doll seemed to come alive. Its gaze became more animated, and it used its remaining finger to gesture at Chen Ge. Boss, did you bring this out from the dormitory? Bai Cholan and Xu Yin guarded beside Chen Ge. Both of them looked at the doll curiously. This was the first time they had seen a soul that had been manipulated like this. It appears to be someone who bullied Zhang Ya. Once Chen Ge said that, the doll on the ground started to shake its finger like it was wronged. Seeing this, Chen Ge was curious. He pointed at the ground beside the doll. You can write on the ground with your blood. I can see it. The doll hesitated. The things that it wanted to say could not be shared with too many people. With the doll's insistence, Chen Ge and Xu Yin used their backs to block other people's view. Now, you can gesture. The doll's finger moved quickly, and Chen Ge tried to decipher the doll's words. Take me away, I know her secret. Negotiating terms with me? Chen Ge laughed from the anger. The doll wanted to use Zhang Ya's secret as a condition. He was about to remove one of the doll's arms to wake it up when the doll's fingers started to write on the ground again. I can smell her scent on you, but I've been observing you since you entered the door. She seems to be asleep, or else she would have killed me if she knew I was still conscious. Everyone who gets close to her will die a horrible death, and you are no exception. I know you're afraid. Take me away. I know her well, and I know how to escape from her. You might not realize it now, but she is using you. After she drains you of all value, she will kill you without hesitation. Those dolls will be your final destination. Don't be fooled by her appearance. She is the scariest specter, an inescapable nightmare, a complete madwoman. Trust me, I am the first headmaster of this school, and that woman killed the real door pusher. She is the real enemy of the school's consciousness. The doll's eyes twitched. He looked at Chen Ge eagerly after he finished writing. The shocked expression that he expected from Chen Ge did not appear. If anything, the atmosphere was a bit weird. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.